Mm-hmm.
Understood that I didn't go in that way, and nor was I going to stay the way that I was when I came out of it. I had to put in some work. Why? Because I'm leveling up. And so if you want something different than what you had, you got to level up.
You got to do something you've never done. You got
Yeah.
to level up.
Listen, if you want a baller shot caller,
You better be a baller and a shot caller
you better be a baller shot caller. This is true. And so,
because
yeah,
you can't expect from somebody else what you're not willing to do yourself.
that's right. That's right. And if you're not loving yourself 100%, how can you even profess loving anybody else that much?
Or expect
Yeah.
them to love you 100% if you ain't
Yeah.
loving you a hundred
Yeah.
percent.
So drop those bags off at the nearest bus station. Anxiety, low self esteem, no confidence. Drop those things off, so that you're traveling with a lighter load. And then that way, when you find the person that you're pining for his affections and he sees a good thing, now you guys become a partnership because he should have been doing the same thing.
What if they don't know they have low self esteem? Or what if they don't know that they lack confidence? Like, and is that possible for them not to know?
It's possible. I mean, I believe that a person can be so enlarged in depression and anxiety that it is a perpetuated state of being, and they become so familiar with
Mm-hmm.
it that it becomes their everyday thing. In fact, you really don't even recognize yourself. Like, you could have been everything opposite of that before a harmonious relationship, and now suddenly you've been in it 7, 10, 12 years and you don't recognize yourself. So I always tell people, self check. If
Mm-hmm.
you have begun to do things that are out of character for you,
Mm-hmm.
like if you used to be social and now all of a sudden you are not, or if you used to be jubilant and all of a sudden you can't find a smile, or if you used to be a really calm person and now you feel like you're nervous all the time, even if you can't put your finger to the why, your intelligence should be able to tell you something is wrong. Again, counseling. Anytime you come out of a situation where it felt weighted, you should unpack that with somebody, a counselor, a therapist, a pastor, a spiritual leader, um, because you cannot come out of those things and be the same.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot
Mm-hmm.
come out of abuse and be the same. Any kind of abuse, emotional, psychological, financial, physical. You can't come out of it and be the same person. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if that, in fact, is true, you're carrying some debris. I mean, think about it. When you shatter glass, it spreads out.
Yeah.
And so you got all of these shard pieces that aren't even attached to you that come in the forms of anxiety or depression, addiction, um, isolation, all of these things. And so, when in doubt, go seek help.
So I think about that analogy you gave with the broken glass, right? And sometimes there's big pieces and sometimes there's some little bitty tiny pieces, and some of the pieces might go underneath the refrigerator or under the stove or under the couch, wherever that piece is broken, right? And so you think you've collected all these pieces, but there's still some missing pieces. How does one gather these pieces in order to bring healing?
That is such a great question. Have you ever seen, since we're talking about glass, have you ever seen cracked glass in the form of an artwork? Have
Yeah.
you ever seen cracked glass? It is imperfect in a very perfect way.
Mm-hmm.
It will be missing little pieces, but somehow the artist has managed to take what was left and create a
Mm-hmm.
masterpiece. So when you come out of situations and you are missing pieces, reinvent yourself, redefine yourself, because there is still a masterpiece in you. If you survived it and you are here to tell the story,
Mm-hmm.
now you get to reinvent your narrative.
Mm. So
Someone,
reframing it.
yeah, I will self-disclose because I am an open book, and we're gonna be transparent, right? Because
Yeah.
to we're trying to foster healing. But in my own story, coming out of my situation, I wasn't supposed to make it out of my situation. Let me just say that.
Okay.
But because I did, I looked back and I thought, I've changed. I am not fragile. I am not weak. I am not uh, stagnant. That all of who she was under the umbrella of abuse,
Mm-hmm.
I had to pull her along to be who you see today.
Mm.
Those are my fragmented pieces. That's my shattered glass. I taught a workshop once, and it was called Loving the Woman in the Mirror. And the woman in the mirror is whoever that person, whoever that woman was that endured the struggle, right? And for years, my inner woman,
Mm-hmm.
I left her behind because she was weak. She was the reason I endured all of those things. She wasn't strong. But I'm telling you, when I caught a glimpse of her in the mirror, I had to apologize for abandoning her.
Mm.
I didn't take her around everywhere I went, and arrogance made me think that I could be who I am without her until
Mm.
I saw her. The response was everything that I am, my new narrative, the one that I get to write with nobody's permission. You don't need no permission to be whole.
Mm-hmm. You just be
But I couldn't write it the way that I wrote it
without her.
without her, without the experience
Mm-hmm.
of loss, of struggle, of perseverance. And what weakness when you're being vulnerable? Vulnerability is a strength.
But I've heard some men say, like, when a woman shows up in her strength, in her independence,
Mhm.
um, not thirsty, they'll often say you trying to be a man.
Ah,
Like you're showing up in your masculine energy, as one would say. Um,
hmm.
and so, how do you be that yet remain in that feminine place where you're not seen as not soft or not feminine, not do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. I don't believe that there is a compromise in how we as women show up in relationship. I'm going to say marriage. Um, I'm a woman of faith, and so I don't believe that we were created to be somebody's girlfriend. I'm gonna
No, because you don't see girlfriend nowhere in the word
That's it, or boyfriend. Let me
or
add.
boyfriend.
Um, So I don't believe that there is a compromise, but there is a level of sacrifice. And women typically don't mind making that sacrifice when they feel safe. So the
Yeah.
caveat is we have to feel safe with who is on the other side.
Mm.
And it is a really natural response from both sides when there is trust. Some of the things that we've talked about, safety, assurance.
Mm-hmm.
A confident man, a whole man, let me say that,
Mm-hmm.
is not lacking or missing anything. He ready for you.
Mm-hmm.
He would never ask you to compromise. And I'm going to say that this term, this masculinity uh, that you mentioned, it doesn't exist. We can't be masculine. We are feminine creatures who can be confident, strong, assertive. We can lead. We can do all of these things and still be very feminine, very soft. And when we are with the right man, that's who we want to be.
Absolutely.
And when he is whole, he allows us to be that. And so it really depends on the man who is presenting that question, or
Mm.
the man who has this um, this perception of women who are strong. I'm strong, you are strong, we go back, so I know I can say that about you,
Yeah.
that we are strong women in the lane that we're in. But when I am with the man, the man,
The man, not a man.
not
The
a man, the man, I can be vulnerable. I can be soft. I don't have to present masculine qualities. There are some women who show up to relationship somewhat out of pocket. I'm going to say it. I see it in my couples sessions.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks to, can you allow a man to be a man? You ever heard that phrase? Allow a
Absolutely.
man to be a man. But the caveat to that is he really being the man? And is she really being the woman? We have to understand our assignment in relationship as women.
Mm-hmm.
Men need to understand their assignment in the relationship as the man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother topic.
It really is.
It's a whole nother topic because it's how you show up. And it is what is his perspective and what is your perspective of the roles.
Because that's where like role reversal comes into play.
Mhm.
Because if you are too quick
Mm.
to jump in and fix, and he just let you, you just flip the role.
Yeah. Like if I have to wear the pants, I look better in a dress. But if you're going to, you know, if you're going to be negligent and not show up in the areas of being a provider, being, keeping us safe, praying for our house, like leading, then I'm going to have to compensate. A lot of family dynamics are just that way. That's why you see so many single mothers. And
Mm-hmm.
in some instances, you see a single father.
Yeah.
But you can't get mad at women today who show up like a man or masculine when she has not had anyone to step in, a man to step into that role and say, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to move like that, but I understand it. I
Mm-hmm.
understand why you move like that. I understand why you think you're the alpha, because you've had to be an alpha by default. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it is safe for you now to relinquish that because I got it.
And I think that's where When you have a healthy relationship,
Yes.
that's the narrative.
Yes.
When you don't, that's when it breeds that lack of respect, that lack of commitment, that conflict avoidance. It wasn't me. Like you trying to call him on the carpet for his stuff, and you saw him with an old girl down the street around the way, but yet, nah, that wasn't me. No, it was you. Um, so that segues us into the conflict piece, because in any relationship, conflict is gonna come up. It's gonna present itself,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean that it has to be chaotic, right? Conflict just simply means a problem. So then why is it so many people avoid conflict? And what's the true cost of conflict avoidance?
It can cost you everything. uh,
Explain.
One of the reasons people avoid conflict is the fear of rejection,
Mhm.
um, abandonment can be an issue, or even past traumas that, we talked about people entering into relationships and they are unhealthy
Mhm.
themselves. Avoiding conflict may feel safer in the moment. I'll get to it later. We can talk about it later.
Mhm.
But over time, it leads to resentment
Mhm.
on both sides. It certainly creates a disconnection, and an unmet need, or needs that begin to erode the relationship. You have to understand the concept of avoiding any issue is to put you on an island by yourself. Again, I have a faith that suggests to me that when you don't bring your stuff to the table or to the altar,
Mhm.
it separates you from the possibility of gaining some relief or some resolution. Relationship is no different. We have to be able to, even in places that stem out of pain, be able to say, let's talk about it. Let's come to the middle. And it's better to do it sooner than later. I know that a lot of my clients would say, I tell her, I'm leaving. I'm going to go for a walk and I'll be back. And she might say, I just shut down and don't say nothing.
Mhm.
Well, that does a lot of damage, because what your words say and what your body language is saying is, I disregard you.
Mm.
So why wouldn't I avoid you? Why would I want to show up? And so part of the resolution for that is to always be invitational when you have some issues, whether you are in fault, in the wrong, or not, or the person on the other side. When you come into a relationship, you choose that person. You don't choose them just sometimes, yeah?
Mhm.
You choose them the moment you open your eyes in the morning and you look at them, and whether you've had an argument or not, you should be able to say, I choose you today.
Mhm.
And here is an invitation to my love. Here's an invitation to my world. And here's an invitation to that heated discussion that we had. And face each other. That running in the other direction is a recipe for detriment. Most couples don't survive it. And the longer that gap is there, the harder it is to find your way back together.
Mhm.
So it really does breed chaos.
Even with, can you talk a little bit or speak to the silent treatment?
The silent treatment. Silence is a very powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double-edged sword. There is a time to be silent, and there is certainly a time to open your mouth and say what is necessary. Speak the truth.
But is
But
there a difference between, like, I don't want to, like, I'm gonna need, give me a day to process because right now I'm too angry to discuss. That's one thing. But when it's like, I'm gonna wait till you leave and go to work before I come out, like the whole avoiding you silent treatment, like I'm just not gonna talk to you.
that's warfare. That's psychological warfare right there. That is the person trying to control the narrative. But
Mm.
remember, it's us. There is no your narrative or my narrative, it's us. And so sometimes silence can be used as a manipulation tactic.
Mhm.
Um, if the person, as we mentioned at the very beginning of the segment, is presenting signs of controlling, um, gaslighting, all of these red flags, they could very well have a personality disorder. And
Mm.
would um, use those measures to really control the person. That's a different magnitude of avoidance, because now we're talking about what the underlying motivation of the person is. Are they avoiding because they really have some fear of the conflict, or are they avoiding because they're trying to manipulate and move you into a position where they can further, cause you harm in your emotions or how you think about something?
Mm. That's good because I don't think we um look at it as psychological warfare. Just like, oh, they're just not talking to me. Oh, they just need some space. They'll be back. When it's really all about gaining control and trying to change the narrative.
Mhm.
So then what are healthy ways to approach disagreement without it escalating to a place of disrespect or withdrawal?
Mm, that's really good. Well, you can't be accusatory. You can't, and as women, we tend to be that way. I, on the other side of being cheated on, or just, I mean, you just frustrated and have had it up to here. You
Mhm.
might make a statement like, you said, or you did, or you did do that thing, out of frustration and out of being hurt. But the truth of the matter is, if the person is for you, and I
Okay.
say that boldly, if the
Mhm.
person is your one,
Your person.
sent to you, you should never have to come out the gate accusatory. It should always be an invitation. Let's talk. Come, sit down. It's a demeanor. And to reiterate that when you have to step away, sometimes you have to step away. You can't be so furious that you're yelling at each other and nobody can hear the other person, right?
Mhm.
Nobody's listening when you're yelling. But once you've done that, agree to come back. Let's come back in an hour. Have a safe word. Look, it's time for us to break. Just say break, and we'll come back in an hour. But be deliberate and intentional about it. When you do, it's an invitation. It's no different from when you said I do, or yes, I'll have you as mine. It's
Mhm.
no different. You're inviting them into a space, and that space has to feel like a safe space for both. Now, we're women, and so we have to be mindful that we can be real emotional creatures, but that doesn't mean that men are not. They just show it different.
Different. Yes.
Up different. They're very emotional and they can be very sensitive. That this begins to dissolve itself and reconcile these nuances between men and women when we understand that we're really not that different. We still have the same gripes. And it will be resolved when we can actually invite each other to the conversation. This is how you will overcome the nuances of a person not feeling as if they can come and talk to you,
Right.
especially if they did something wrong.
Yeah.
Like if I
If it's a safe space, they'll come.
exactly, if I offended you, but you done threw up gang signs and everything that suggest to me that I am not welcome, I'm going to isolate and detach. But if you can somehow present or display a demeanor that says, okay, let's diffuse, let's talk about it. Because at the end of the day, we are not enemies unless the person you with is truly your enemy. That's another.
Look, that's another story for another time. As we begin to wrap this up, I have just some final questions for you. Like, if you can help the people with what can someone do if they recognize that they may be in a toxic relationship or a challenging one, where their partner is not showing them respect or trust?
Okay.
What advice would you give them?
Well, again, and I'm going to sound like a broken record. Um, you have to know yourself. Please understand the posture that you take as a woman, um, because you can't get what you are unable to give, and nor can you get from a person where they are unavailable, like if they don't have it to give you.
Mm-hmm.
And so before you go into the relationship, you make sure you're whole as whole can possibly be. You want to make sure that they too are whole. Now, people rush into relationships, they move too fast. We want everything fast. You know, we want a Boaz like
Fast.
like yesterday. But it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time to know that person on multiple levels. So I say slow motion, put it to the test. See how they show up in different environments. Um, Run them past the people you trust more than anything.
That's
And
important.
listen, because your closest homegirls, not all of them, you got to know which ones, but your closest ones, and even some of your male friends might be like, that person is something about that person. They're not for you.
Mm.
But because you see and want what you want,
Mm-hmm.
you neglect to take that, to heart. And I'm not suggesting that you got to buy into what everybody say, but it is enough to raise an eyebrow. Another thing that you could do, um, as a red flag is when we're intelligent beings. None of the information that I've shared today or that you've shared today is rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
That I could see it in another person's relationship, but for some reason I can't see it in mine. You have to ask yourself that question. Did I see it and I just chose not to see it? And so when it is truly a red flag, you say, God, show me. And he's showing you. And you're saying, but I can change him. Or I can make this work. Or it's really not that bad. In other words, be true to yourself. Don't lie to yourself.
You have to. I realize I began to read over some of my journal entries in one of my previous relationships, and it had been a while, but I kept noticing the same question, different month, same question, different year, same question, as if I didn't really already know the answer.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, absolutely.
Same question. And so that alone was like, that ain't it. Um, so what are some questions that one could ask themselves to help them know if they're in a safe and respectful relationship?
Do I feel heard when I speak?
Mm, that's important.
Can I be my full self without fear or judgment?
Mm,
Is accountability mutual?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Not just me being accountable, but can he be accountable? Is there a willingness there? Or is it one sided?
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
Do I feel emotionally safe with them? In other words, can he be the keeper of your secrets?
Mm-hmm.
This is where vulnerability should be something that fuels you. It's not a weakness. Vulnerability is a strength when it is facing the right person.
Right.
It's where you begin to grow, and there's no anxiousness with it. If you can't be vulnerable, you're going to have anxiety, fear.
Mm-hmm.
And another question you can ask is, am I growing in this relationship? Or am I shrinking? Am I getting smaller?
Mm.
Does being with this person push me to the background? Are my dreams being considered? Are my ambitions? Am I being supported? Um, am I being encouraged to be better? Like
Mm-hmm.
the person that is for you, he's gonna help you level up. He's gonna be your greatest cheerleader. Go get it.
That's good. That's real good.
I help you. Are they speaking life into me?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, when I leave you, do I feel like I can do anything?
Oh, that's good.
Despite believing in myself, I know I can do anything I put my mind to. That's what my faith say. But when I turn to the one,
Mm-hmm.
is he co-signing that? Is he saying is he seeing you that way?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or are you ask yourself, am I the backdrop?
Mm.
He is. And does he
That's
have a problem with it?
yeah, because sometimes it's a problem. You start to shine too bright.
Somebody wrote a song about it.
My.
So those are some of the
Those are some key questions.
yeah, they're key. They're basic. Because the irony is this, and we could really put a pin right here, is that if you can answer these questions for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like just put you in it. Am
Mm-hmm.
I growing in this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel emotionally safe?
Mm-hmm.
Am I accountable for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Can I be full? Just me.
Mm-hmm.
Am I full?
Mm-hmm.
Do I validate me? Do I affirm me? Because if you can't say yes to any of those, press pause on being in a relationship.
That
Go
is good.
work. Go get some self help books or whatever it is that you need to do. Lean into your faith, whatever that is for you, And don't be so hasty about moving fast into a relationship, because you'll break the other person. If they're already fractured,
Mm-hmm.
you'll break them. And likewise, he'll break you if he's not whole.
My God, this has been rich. This has been raw. This has been powerful. Thank you for accepting the invitation and joining me on today to help women heal their broken wings. How can the people contact you? How can they seek you out for counseling services?
Oh, they can reach me at 702-337-3002, or you can contact, I am contracted out at ACS Community Services. You can reach them at 702-655-4227. You can hop on Baraka LV, that's BERAKAHLV, at gmail.com, and keep your eye glued, because we're on the move and we're doing some real big things in the valley.
Awesome. And that first number, can you repeat that to me one more time? 702-337.
337-3002.
All right. And let's see here. All right. So you can reach her here at barakalv at gmail.com, 702-337-3002, or at ACS Antioch Community Services at 702-655-4227. It has been a pleasure having you join us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been an absolute honor.
If you need to reach me, feel free to contact me here at 702-983-3112 or anointedtobe at gmail.com. And if you want to sow into the ministry to help hurting women, feel free to cash at me at $Gabrielle #1, so that we can meet the needs of women and Shade Tree and Safe Nest. These are women that are experiencing their wings have been broken, and we want to bring healing to them as well. And by way of announcement, the Just Be Apostolic Teaching Intensive is coming November 1st, 2025. We have some great teachers that are coming to impart to you. Just Be is all about you standing in the fullness of who you are and your true, authentic self. But whatever your gift is, if you are trying to reach people and teach them, if you are an evangelist and you need to teach, if you're a creative and you need to teach, if you are teaching the church or the unchurched, we have some great dynamic speakers that will be coming to you, imparting unto you. So register. You can join. You can register at bit.ly/justbe2025 and register for that. You don't want to miss this conference. Again, thank you for joining us. And until next month, you can join us back again on the second Saturday of the month at 1 o'clock. And we will be talking about abuse, substance abuse, physical and mental and physical abuse. And we just say no to abuse.
That's
But we're
right.
going to talk about what abuse looks like in relationships, the impact it has on individuals. And a good friend of mine is going to join me, Sister Lynn Smith. She is the author of I Just Wanted to Be Married. She'll be coming and joining us to have this conversation. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, have a good day.